You have to wonder how Manchester United fans feel. They've got a German coach taking over, his name, Ralph Rangnick, and this could spell some big changes over at Old Trafford. On today's show, I'm going to explore what these changes could mean to the club, to their players, to the whole system over at United, and of course, to the game Football Manager. My name is Daljit. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the channel. This is the place where I do content on the game Football Manager. I also stream 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on Daljit's Moments. You can also catch me on Twitch on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Join me for some Football Manager draft mode fun. You know, we'll shoot the breeze, have some fun. Of course, have some laughs along the way. This is a manager who's not won a Bundesliga title. However, he has been credited with influencing managers who have. Managers like Jurgen Klopp, Jesse Marsch, Julian Nagelsmann, Ralf Hasenhüttl. There are a host of managers who turn to him as the godfather of gegenpressing. Rangnick revealed that his football epiphany came during a friendly match in 1983 against Dynamo Kiev, who were then coached by Valery Lobanovsky, that legendary coach of pressing. Yes, he has been influenced by coaches like Arrigo Sacchi and Lobanovsky. The entire pressing style that he introduced in Germany, called gegenpressing, actually had its roots way back in 1983. So why did Manchester United decide to go with Ralph Rangnick when there were coaches like Ernesto Valverde, Rudi Garcia who were out there in the wild? Well, one can only surmise that United wanted to transform the club. And this is where Ralph Rangnick excels. It's a bold move by United. Let's try and understand the German's philosophy when it comes to running a club. It revolves around his 3 C's: concept, competence, and cash. Ralph Rangnick's philosophy first starts with the style of football the team is going to be playing. It's a style that fans will easily recognize whenever they see their teams play. It is going to be a style that the fans will be able to identify with. Branding is important to Ralph Rangnick. Whenever his teams take to the pitch, the style of football that they play has to be instantly recognizable by the fans, by the sponsors, by other players, whether they win, lose, or draw. If you want to look for clubs that are currently playing his brand of football elsewhere in Europe, then look no further than Jesse Marsch's RBL, Julian Nagelsmann's Bayern Munich, Bo Schwensen's Mainz, and Ralf Hasenhüttl's Southampton side. Under Rangnick, I expect United to be playing a brand of football that's exciting to watch. It will be attacking, it will be punctuated with fast, short, and vertical passing. The team will be compact when they have possession of the ball, and when they lose possession of the ball, they will try and win it quickly through gegenpressing. This is a side that will be heavily influenced by Arrigo Sacchi's ball-orientated and space-orientated pressing styles. To understand what kind of formations United might end up playing under Rangnick, look no further than the 2018-2019 season with RB Leipzig. It shows that our German coach is quite adept at playing various formations. Interestingly, the one formation that rarely gets played with him is the 4-2-3-1. Without the ball, his sides employ tight marking and they use pressing traps, and they try their best to prevent sides from connecting passes together to exploit wider areas of the pitch. Each ball carrier, whenever he gets the ball, will normally be pressed by at least 2 players, and his sides have been known to play with either the mid or the high block. An example of a pressing trap they could use, well, whenever the defending side has the ball, they will allow for one player to be free. That could be the outlet for the defenders to pass the ball to, but the moment that player gets the ball, he's going to be pressed by 2 players, one coming in front and another on his blind side. We will be jumping into Manchester United very soon to try and set these tactics up. We also need to establish what our transitions are going to look like, our counter attacks, our counter pressing, and how we're going to use the half spaces. Rangnick's sides are noted for having quick vertical attacks. They try to overload the half spaces through triangular movements with quick one-touch vertical passing. They also have a double pivot in front of their defense, and he prefers to use 2 striker combinations in attack. When it comes to creative options in attack, Ralph Rangnick's sides use counter-pressing to create goal-scoring chances. They have 2 strikers. They also have inverted wingers that come in like playmakers, trying to release passes through the center. And their midfield pivot moves from side to side to support the fullbacks as they bomb down the flanks. In Football Manager, this will be loosely translated into using focus play instructions on the right and the left flank, using a mobile defensive midfielder role, inverted wingers out wide in attack with Mazzalas or Carreros in the half spaces. Formations that we can probably use are going to be the 4-4-2 box, the 4-4-2 DM systems, the 4-4-2 diamond, the 4-3-1-2. This will be the easiest formations to employ. The 4-3-3 will be challenging, and the 4-2-3-1 not so much. As far as counter attacks and counter pressing transitions are concerned, this is going to be quite interesting because Ralph Rangnick likes his sides to counter press within 8 seconds of losing the ball, and a short attempt has to be generated within 10 seconds of them regaining possession of the ball. So whether or not this can actually happen in the game of Football Manager, we'll have to wait and see. We're still working through his first C, concept, and one big part of this concept is players and their DNA. He identifies talent early and then brings those players into the club, because he is not the sort of manager that goes out there to sign older players. He expects a certain work ethic for his players, fantastic stamina, high levels of work rate and determination. But what does this mean for players like Cristiano Ronaldo? Are they on their way out? Well, look no further than FC Schalke, because there was a certain player called Raul there who was playing at the age of 35 under Ralph Rangnick. It is very possible that Cristiano Ronaldo still has a big part to play with Manchester United under the new German manager. However, players like Anthony Martial, I don't see a future for them under Ralph Rangnick. The second C in Ralph Rangnick's philosophy is competence. Competence refers to his boardroom staff. I expect Ralph Rangnick to have a big say in the coaching staff at all levels of the club, because he's going to want to play a big part in how the coaches develop the players and make them understand his pressing systems, not only with the senior team, but even with the youth teams. Ralph Rangnick's last C is going to be something that the board is going to love. It's to turn players over for a profit. Whenever they bring youngsters into the club, they'll be grooming them not only for the first team, but with a view to making a profit from them when they sell them off to other clubs. What we're going to do next is load up Manchester United and apply his 3 C's to the club. When we take a look at Manchester United, we're going to see a couple of players here who have low work rate. These include Anthony Martial, Nemanja Matic, Paul Pogba, Juan Mata, and to some extent Cristiano Ronaldo. However, we need to try and include Mr. Ronaldo into our side so that we have a legend playing for this club. United's weakest area is the midfield. In order to implement Ralph Rangnick's pressing systems, we will need to strengthen this team. What about United's coaches? Do they fulfill the competency requirements? First coach we check on is going to be Michael Carrick. He prefers Route 1 football. Preferred formation is 5-2-1-2. He's out. What we are going to do is try and convince this Frenchman, whose name I can't pronounce, to join us as Michael Carrick's replacement. The second thing we're going to do is strengthen Manchester United's midfield with Amadou Haidara from RB Leipzig. There are various formations that we can start with, but perhaps the first thing I want to focus on are the opposition instructions, because this is going to play a big part in our pressing system. Since Ralph Rangnick's pressing system employs pressing traps, there are going to be some players on the opposition we do not apply opposition instructions to. The goal is to leave them free so that the opposition only have them as an option to pass to. To do that, we're going to go to the OIs. Very simple. We are going to apply the trigger press OI to central defenders and central midfielders, leaving them the players that we target. So we're also going to use opposition instructions to create pressing angles. Take this for example. This is a fullback playing on the right flank. I'm actually going to show him to his left foot. This only allows him to work the ball inside instead of looking for options down the flank. While we try to force the fullbacks to play inside passes, with wingers, we're going to try and encourage them to stay on the flanks and drop in crosses. We don't want them cutting inside and creating overloads in central areas of the pitch. For example, this right winger, we're going to show him onto his right foot. We're going to apply tight marking to specific players on the pitch using opposition instructions as well as play instructions. With opposition instructions, we'll do tight marking on fullbacks and wingers. Assuming Manchester United strengthen the midfield with at least one more central midfielder, there will be several formations that they can play. A shape that they might take up is something like this, a 4-2-2-2, where they will deploy two defensive midfielders and have the inverted wingers in the wider position sitting narrower so that they come in like this when the wing backs do a natural overlap. Another variation of the shape will involve two strikers, two wingers, two central midfielders, and a backline of 4. Everybody is told to tight mark except for the goalkeeper and the two central midfielders. The two wide players here will be told to sit narrower, tucking these players inside, allowing the wingbacks to bomb down the flanks. With the current crop of players at United, both these systems will be the easiest ones to fulfill. Jadon Sancho can play on the right or the left as a winger, and he's decent with both his feet, so he can definitely play as an inverted winger. Bruno Fernandes will most likely have to be retrained to play on the left, which isn't a tall order since he's already familiar with the position. He just needs a bit more practice. He has the attributes that will be needed for an inverted winger. On top of that, both these players have played killer ball, something that the strikers will relish when they're playing balls from the flanks into dangerous areas in front of them. Now, when it comes to central midfield, the reason why we need to get Haidara in to the club is because McTominay will need to be paired with another player that can actually bust the gut trying to build up play. In most cases, we can play with Paul Pogba here in this position, but we can also rotate other players into that position, including Haidara and Fred. And this is something that will be defensively solid for United, considering the fact that this area of the pitch has been one of their biggest vulnerabilities in recent seasons. When I tried this formation out with Manchester United, one of their biggest results was a 5-1 away win against Chelsea. Chelsea were basically reduced to scraps in front of the United goal. United battered them in the first half and then added 2 more late into the second half to round out a 5-1 win. Liverpool fared no better than Chelsea, losing 3-0 as well. Liverpool couldn't create any decent chances in and around the United half. United, on the other hand, proved to be a much stronger side towards the end of the game. We have a more attacking variation of the 4-2-2-2, which now looks like a 4-2-4. Against Chelsea's system, it was a very close game. We edged our opponents only because we had better finishing on the day. The 4-3-3 is going to be very challenging for United to pull off, simply because it doesn't have the players for the system. They have Haidara, they have McTominay, might have Pogba, but how do you fit Pogba and Fernandes in a 4-3-3? It just won't work. In fact, among all these systems, this was the only system to lose to Liverpool at Old Trafford. So it's now time for us to spot some of these transitions that we're after in the game. The first thing I'm looking for are our OIs, whether they're working well. So here, as we start pressing, you can see some of the players are already closing down the lanes. Here, the defender is forced to go long. We have focus play instructions down both flanks, so I'm looking to see my players support players. We move down the right flank, looking for little passing triangles that allow us to build up play and get the ball into more dangerous positions. I have set OIs on opposition defenders to press them when a trigger occurs. Here, a trigger has happened, there's a loose first touch and our player shuts him down. With United, it shouldn't be difficult creating a system that's built around short progressive passes, looking to create goal scoring opportunities for your side. Another key aspect of this style of football is to ensure that counter pressing has been set up correctly. If we lose the ball, we want to see our team win the ball back within 10 seconds, and we've done exactly that. If I wanted to create a tactic in the spirit of Ralph Rangnick for Manchester United, I'd probably start with something like this, which is a 4-2-2-2-2. And against a weaker opposition, if I wanted to take a bit more risk, we can always switch to this. Both these systems are easy to manage in one game. To set them up, they're pretty straightforward. 2 pressing forwards on attack, no PIs on either one of them. Then for the 2 wingers, we have an inside forward and an inverted winger. Both of them will be told to sit narrow and mark tighter. Then the wingbacks will be told to mark tighter. We have a roaming playmaker in the middle, a ball-winning midfielder on defense, a ball-playing defender behind him, and a central defender on defense duty. In the other version, it's probably going to be the same. set up. We're going to have an inverted winger on the left with told to sit narrow and mark tighter. We'll have an inverted winger on the right with the same play instructions. In the middle, a roaming playmaker and a volante. On all the flanks, we have a wingback on attack. Both of them are going to be asked to mark tighter. The ball playing defender on the left and the central defender on the right round up the roles and duties for these systems. Will Rangnick be successful at Manchester United? I want to hear from you, because in my opinion, it's going to be a tall order. It's not going to be easy. He's going to need at least a few seasons. Manchester United are not going to turn into a championship winning team overnight. I fully expect this thing to last for at least 2 to 3 years. And on top of that, Ralph Rangnick is only an interim manager. I fully expect one of the 4 names I mentioned earlier, Jesse Marsch, Julian Nagelsmann, even Ralf Hasenhüttl or Bo Svensson, to end up at Manchester United. Yes, Ralph Rangnick is just keeping the seat warm. He is setting down the blueprint for United to find success, but over the long run. He will also most likely be identifying the best manager to implement that blueprint he's going to set up. Something tells me that Jesse Marsch could be tempted to leave RBL and head over to Manchester United in the next few seasons. If you're a United supporter, these are going to be some very interesting times the next 2.5 years, because Ralph Rangnick has been guaranteed a 2-year consultancy contract. This means that United are taking this very seriously. This approach will need the support of the board as well as the players for it to be successful. Only time will tell what the first ever German experiment at Old Trafford is going to look like. I hope that you enjoyed today's show and you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, you guys know where to find me. Please stay safe and healthy. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.